welcome back. We always talk about the sponsors of the show, and that's the commercials beforehand. You go to those people if you need them. I'm on there, so you should go to me. but
support our sponsors.
Support local people.
Without them, we're not on the radio. So.
I agree with that. So anyway, Jim, where are we now?
The next segment. It's the blog segment. The blog. The blog.
I like it.
I know you like it. Like it a lot. You like talking about issues that people have. You like helping people.
I do like help, and I do a lot. Some people think that's cliche. And when you talk about lawyers, they're all out for themselves, and many are. I'm sure that's true. It's like everybody else. But there are. I know a lot of lawyers who are very good people. Who I have a whole network of lawyers. So no matter what's going on in your life, and you need legal help, you should call me. And I can help you. If I can't help you, then I'll find someone who does, someone that is honest and straightforward and local that can help you solve your legal problems. Because who do you call when you have a legal problem? Don't say the Ghostbusters, because they don't help with legal problems. But I do help people with legal problems. And again, whether it's a personal injury, we had Jim Marisi here. We had
yes, we did.
He's a great personal injury attorney.
If you need help cooking, Peter Bella was here.
I'm going to tell you something about Peter Bella and the Cooking Cop. He's written a
I know that.
good,
did you read that article?
Yes.
Yeah, about Chicago.
He follows John Cass really closely and writes a lot about that. And John Cass has a great article, too, about the killings here in Chicago, about people, all the deaths, and how nobody seems to care. And, and I love the Democrats when they go about that. Oh, it's not our fault. It's got nothing to do with Democrats or Republicans. It's just out there. No, it's got nothing to do with the policies and the fact that the same parties run all these big cities. Okay, so I'm going to go off.
Yep, let's go. Let's focus on
But I already talked about wire points and
that's right.
Mark
if you guys want to read a great article, go to
wirepoints.com.
And Peter Bella.
Oh, Peter Bella is the Cooking Cop. But
ChicagoNow.com.
Chicago Now, that's right. So he's on there, too. He's got a great article out there, too. So go to him, read him. If people on the show, we trust them, and they're good people. Go help them as they want to help you. Okay, but today we're going to talk about, so I had a couple come in, and they were business owners, and they were running a business that was started by his dad more than 30 years ago. And it gave them a pretty good living. They have a nice home, and they've always made fairly good money. But last year they took on a really big project for somebody, and when they took on this big project, they had to hire a lot of people to come out and help them because that was part of the project. Well, when you have a lot of people working for you, what happens? You have big payroll, and when you have a big payroll, that means you have big taxes to pay. Part of the payroll tax, right, is that we talk a lot about this on the show. That there's different elements of the payroll tax. You have Medicare and Social Security and federal taxes that you take out of your employees' paychecks. It's their money. It's the employees' money, but the employer takes it out of their paychecks and then holds it, and then supposed to turn it over to the IRS for payroll taxes, and then a certain portion of it the employer matches and then sends all that money to the IRS. Well, what happened with this nice couple is they didn't get paid for the job that they did. So they had this huge obligation out there. They had to put out all these people to get this job done, and then when it's time to get paid, they don't get paid. And this is what happens sometimes when your customers have financial problems, right? It spills over to you because they don't pay you then. Mm-hmm. And it's a Lego thing, right? Or a domino effect.
Lego thing?
Domino.
Legos they lock and they can't
Domino, okay? Dominoes, Legos. I didn't play a lot as a kid.
Say Legos again.
I'm not playing that game with you. Anyway, it's a domino effect, and so the bad financial decisions of somebody spills over to you. So what happens now? This company, it was also union, so they had union obligations. So he had to shut the company down because they didn't have any money to pay. And then once you don't pay the union, they won't give you any more labor, and then you're in trouble. So he had to shut the company down. So then it was, well, now what? What am I obligated to pay as the owner of the company? Am I off the hook because we had it was a corporation, so there's limited liability for the owners. Am I on the hook for the business's payroll taxes? And the answer is not for the business's payroll taxes. Those are separate and distinct. Those are the business's obligation. And if the business closes down, well, then the business isn't there to pay their taxes. But there's a portion of this, and that's that portion I was describing a little earlier, that you took out of, that the business took out of the employee's check and was to send it over to the IRS. If you didn't send it over to the IRS, you were holding that money. It wasn't your money, and that's called a trust. When the IRS can assess it against you personally, they go against what they call responsible parties, and responsible party is anybody that they deem had an impact and could have stopped it or should have sent the money over. One who had the duty to perform or the power to direct the act of collecting, accounting for, or paying over the trust fund taxes over to the IRS.
Okay.
So that might be, I wanted to read that definition.
No, I know you did,
important.
but let's take a break here. Let's let that settle in. Can you read that one more time so people can get a hold of it?
It'll say one who had the duty to perform or the power to direct the act of collecting, accounting for, or paying over trust fund taxes. So you don't have to be the owner. I could just be the accountant. I could be the bookkeeper of the business, and they could come after me personally. So if, in this case, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so
That's terrifying.
So even though I'm just a bookkeeper, they can look to me to pay it.
What if I'm a bookie?
Well, then you can bet that you're going to have to pay it. See what I did there?
Oh, whoa.
See what I did there? Anyway, what happens is, right, so then after they go after the business and the business doesn't pay, then they assess these taxes, this trust fund recovery. It's about 66% roughly of the total tax obligations, not including penalties and interest, because the IRS hits the business with penalties and interest. Unbelievable. It's a big amount of money, a big percentage of, and they add it to it. But when they come after you for the trust fund recovery penalty, so it's kind of a misnomer. It's not really a penalty. It's that portion, again, that was taken from your employee's pay checks and not turned over to the IRS. So anyway, some of it he's not going to be obligated for, but this trust fund recovery penalty he is going to be obligated for. So then it's just like any other tax. They're going to come after you. We always talk about the 6 things you can do if you owe the IRS money, right? You can pay them. You can come up with an installment agreement. You can do an offer in compromise. Now, sometimes if the business is ongoing, so if I'm trying to keep my business going, well, then they won't do an offer in compromise or anything like that, because they don't want you to walk away from that debt and keep the business going. They figure if you can't pay the debt, then the business shouldn't be going, right? It's not viable.
That is ridiculous.
It's not,
that is ridiculous.
This kind of makes sense because it's not viable.
Well, but how am I supposed? Okay, look, I'm trying to make it work here. I'm trying to pay. Let's go. Come on. Why are you going against me?
Remember, that wasn't.
That's the problem that we have is where people think, the government's just like these elitists. They think that you are us. That's the whole point of this government is that the people. It's the people's government.
Well, I think that used to be true, and
That's why we're a republic.
Now we have elites that think that they're not. They aren't us.
We can get. I know we can.
Clintons aren't us. Right? They're not us. They're not the ones. They're not part of us. As we showed with when we showed that guy, the poor slob who would have gone to jail if he would have done what Hillary did. Well,
what difference at this point does it make?
Exactly. What does it's? I'm Hillary Clinton, and it's too late now. And there's classified, but us poor slobs on the other side, we have to pay the bill. And that's just the way it works. And they're coming after you, and it gets really complicated. So when it gets complicated, get some help. Don't worry. Don't try to fight the IRS by yourself. It's a losing cause. So get some help. Call me at 312-664-6649, or you can get some answers at chicagotaxteam.com. It also has my number, and it's that same number, 312-664-6649.
That's perfect. I mean, that's what we need is somebody out there that will, because I don't know about you guys. Everybody that's out there who doesn't have a pen and a piece of paper and taking notes like it says in the opening statement.
You mean people don't do that?
No. But I got confused there. Well, how am I going to fight the IRS? Well, I have this issue. Let's call Stephen Leahy, the local Chicago attorney that'll make sure you can fight and get out of this debt that you're in. So remember, 312-664-6649 or visit chicagotaxteam.com. Now stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, because after the commercial break, More IRS Radio Hours coming at you on AM 560.
The Answer.